Well, welcome back to the Let's Glow Show. It's Amanda Sweets, the creative fairy godmother. And every single week, we talk to a creative entrepreneur who is paving a path for many like them. And this week, we have a very special guest. Today, we have Maria Marin, founder and CEO and visionary behind Unlimited Recycling. Welcome, Maria.
Gracias, Amanda. Thank you so much. It's such an honor and a pleasure to be here with you today.
The
I'm
honor
really
is
looking forward
really
to it.
it's all mine. And I'll tell you watching at home. I think it was like a couple years ago. I was moderating a panel thanks to Darlene King and Ivy Simmons, and you were on that panel, and we clicked right away. The vibes were just vibing. You had such
Yes.
beautiful responses, and you've been supporting, mentoring, being a person I could talk to since then. And like that says so much about your character beyond just like being willing to meet with me, but like all the stories that you shared, I was like, we need to have you on the show because your story is amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. We all have a story to tell. So, I'm excited to share my story. And, for me, the goal is to see who we can mentor, who we can help and encourage to keep on trucking, as we say, to keep going and believe in yourself. So it is a truly, I'm excited to talk to you today.
Yay. And keep on
Yes,
trucking is
thank
a
you.
good way to put it. So tell us a little
Yes.
bit about what you do, the overarching, like, what's your spiel?
Okay, so I found unlimited recycling back in 1999. And I think from an early age, as a young girl, I had a vision of becoming the provider, independent provider that I could come and go as I please, that I could do whatever I could create without anyone basically telling me what to do. It's just always been the youngest of seven children. That's just
Mm.
always been my thing. So I did, I was very fortunate to have great mentors. And I think that's very important for us as entrepreneurs to always go to people that have been there, that have paved the road for us. And so and we have mentors in any way that you can imagine, okay, in our lives, emotionally, the physical, the mental, and then, the business. So I started Unlimited because I have such a passion for the environment, and I witnessed working for the Department of Natural Resources how even government entities and companies were polluting the environment. So I felt that it was my responsibility to teach them. And I started something with mercury fluorescent lamps. I learned that mercury is something that was being taken to the landfill, not just a regular landfill, but the hazardous waste landfill,
Hmm.
where the components were not being reclaimed, and we were polluting our Great Lakes. We live in this beautiful state of Michigan, and I started learning all behind the scenes how we were polluting the environment. So one day I was just sitting up in bed, and I remember I had lost my job early. I think it was 95. And I had another business called Latin Translations and Cultural Services because, again, I
Hmm.
had to support my family. I
Hmm.
had was just recently divorced, and
Hmm.
I just had to do it. So I'm just sitting up in bed, and I'm like, I want to do everything. I have wings and I want to fly, and I feel like this. And what is the name? Because that's the first thing that we have to think about when we start a business. What's the name of that business that can represent our goal and our vision? And I said to myself, I am unlimited. And I thought, oh my God, unlimited recycling. And that's how unlimited recycling was born. And that's how it all started.
And what exactly do you do, just so our audience and our listener
So
knows?
early on, it was mostly managing fluorescent lamps, which is there's different types of waste streams. We have industrial waste, which is all your waste that's regulated, not only the proper disposal, but there's transportation laws and how it needs to be stored, how long the transportation has to be regulated, the packaging, and how often you dispose of the waste. So I started with what we call it universal waste,
Mm.
fluorescent lamps, and then batteries, Then the state of Michigan added electronic equipment. This is back like in the mid 90s.
Mhm.
And then we also managed PCB ballasts. The PCBs they stopped making them in 1979. So a lot of the buildings had a complete relamping. So I was part of all that. My first job was at the Renaissance Center, removing all the PCBs from on the light, all the light fixtures. And then gradually, it was just recycling. So at the time, I didn't have any trucks. I started with $300 in my pocket, and some people that believed in me. I made a few calls and I started with one customer and then another and another. I became, I love networking. I think we have to network when we start a business. So I started going out there and just networking with mostly men because it's a men's business. The building managers were men, although things are changing now, but back then, and some people didn't believe in me and I didn't care. I just kept going. And then I had an opportunity to um, bid a contract for the US Army, and it required me to have trash containers and pick up roll-off containers. And at the time, I'm thinking this is, from 1999 to 2007.
Mm.
So, I subcontracted all the transportation. It was just a one woman show, me and my
Right.
computer and my fax machine. That was it. No employees. And so
Mm.
in 2007, I got a call from the Small Business Administration. And I had a man there that mentored me who retired, and I had become certified with the SBA and the 8A program. And they said the Army has this contract and they need a company that it's a trash contract, or what do we call it, solid waste, but they
Mhm.
need recycling. And we know that you are an expert in recycling. Would you like this contract? And I remember at the time, I said, I don't do trash. I mean, I don't know anything about, you know,
Mhm.
and I made a couple calls to people that believed in me, and they said, Maria, I know you can do this. Go for it. So I called back, said, I'll take it. And he says, well, how are you going to do this? I'm like, I don't know. I guess I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. And what are you going to do when the contract's over? You got these trucks and these dumpsters. I said, I'll figure it out. I don't know at this point, but I'm doing this. So that's how I started, and luckily I had been recycling for the Army. It's called the US Army Take-Home in Warren, for
Mhm.
all their universal waste, all the lamps, all the ballasts, all the toner cartridges, just basically the universal waste. And so I called my customer and said, I need you to take me inside the buildings and do our walkthrough, because now we're doing all the recycling, all the trash. And I went to, at the time it was We and Mac, and I said, I need to buy a truck. Can you help me? And I remember sitting there, this tiny little Latina woman. I got two sales guys, one on each side, and I said, I need this type of truck, a roll off, triaxle, and I started explaining all this, and they looked at me and said, well, why do you need a truck like that for? That goes to show you that, we women um, don't they don't see us as women that are capable of doing these things. And people to this day still ask me, how can someone like you can get it? How did you get into this business? It's the first thing they ask me. And I've had many answers, but and I started with one truck and then another truck and 13 dumpsters, and then I'm sitting there at the base, and it's a 5-year contract, and I see all the construction going on, and I'm like, okay, how can I get this business? So I just started literally dumpster diving, looking inside all the cans. I would climb up the ladder, and 90% of the time, men would look at me, say, what are you doing? And I would say, I'm dumpster diving, and I see that there's cardboard here. You got metal and all this stuff that can be recycled. And I was really almost angry, because it's like, why? Why are we doing this? And I said, we got to recycle this. And a lot of times they would just give me the business because they saw I was out there pushing it, making it happen. And so then I decided that I wanted to create a recycling program for construction debris.
Mm.
And so I wrote the plan. It took me about 2 days in front of a computer. I follow the guidelines of the scope, and I wrote the plan called the waste management plan. that to this day I still sell
Wow.
and provide construction debris management for many large projects, including the Gordie Howe Bridge U.S. Port of Entry, where we recycle over 90% of the construction debris material. And now we're doing the U of M Medical Center with Wallbridge in Rancelli. So, back then it was just a vision, it was just a passion that I had,
Mhm.
and I'm glad that I was able to make a good living out of it. Not only that, but to be able to build this company, to have the employees that I have now, to have built a team, and to have been able to help all these customers, all these people, and managing their waste properly. And it's just, it's fun. It's almost like I can't explain it. It's like when you have all these ingredients and you're baking a cake and you eat that cake and you go, oh my God, that was so good. It's delicious. And it's like that with every project for me.
Oh,
And so, yeah, that's pretty much my story. And
wow.
I'm very excited to be sitting in this space. Um, this last year, I received 4 awards, including the first Michigan Recycling of the Year award, first ever. The Latino Legacy Award, and so all these things just kind of happen, but I've been in doing this for the last not just 27 years that I've been, part of Unlimited Recycling, but even prior to that, working with the Mexican community.
Mhm.
So, it's just, it's steady. I've been steady. I've had this love for community, not just Latinos, but just women in general. Like I have other things that I want to do in the
Mhm.
future, and I'm working on that. I'm very involved with organizations and mentoring. And, I'm the type that whenever somebody tells me, try this, it's almost like an aha moment for me. And I think that we as business owners need to surround ourselves with really good people that can guide us and,
Mhm.
and give us ideas and encourage us to keep going and to do
Yeah.
it better. So it's hard. It's very difficult some days, but I don't think I ever have had a day where ask myself, what are you doing? Never. I've never said, oh, I don't want to get up today, I don't want to work today. It's almost like I wish that every day was a Monday and so I can get things done, because Friday comes and you're like, oh, I gotta wait till
Oh.
Monday to get this answer or to get this resolved. Um, or to hear what happens on Monday, because Friday. So yeah, and it's about us doing what we love, you
Yes.
know. It's like I tell the people that I mentor, find your niche and find what you love to do. Because if you feel that your work is a job, it's not going to work. We
Mhm.
have to find what makes us tick and get up every morning.
Mm. Maria, okay, so you, the listener, now you know why I love her. Okay. You're welcome.
Thank you.
So,
Thank
like,
you.
there's so much in your story that I want to unpack. There's so much that I want to like zoom in on and focus on. But one thing that keeps coming to mind is like I can picture you in your bed thinking about this problem, thinking about how big this vision is, wanting to make a change. And I can imagine myself and many of the people that I am in community with that have the same feeling, especially in the world today. Like, there's so many of these problems. I have this big vision. I want to do something. How did you move past your mind to like action? I'm just curious how you do it because it seems like you've really figured it out how to like move on your intuition and move on your desires and whether it's dancing or business or community. So I'm curious about that particular moment where you're like, I need to make this business. This needs to be the thing. And then how you've evolved that part of
I
you.
mean, obviously we have to have that vision. I think that I consider myself a visionary because it's almost like I can see the end, and then
Mm-hmm.
I have to figure it out, how do I get there? So it's about having a plan, a business plan. So I wrote my plan, and it's always a living document, it's always evolving. and really doing your homework. I did my homework, my market research, as we call. Even companies that have a buyer, they do market research to see what vendors out there that can provide me the service. Which vendor do I choose? And it's the same for us as business owners. Do I have competition? And if I do, what are they doing? How are they doing it? Is there anything that they're doing that I'm not, that I can add value to? Because it's about that niche, you know. So for me at that time, it was, there's really nobody offering, there's only one company in the state of Michigan, the company that I used to work for that
Mhm.
moved out of the area, that are doing this, but they only do one thing. I want to be unlimited. So I already knew what they were doing. And I even added value to them because I started subcontracting them for that service.
Wow.
But it's just learning, I became a student,
Mm.
and I always say I have not graduated yet. So you're almost always in school. And
Yeah.
I remember just, again, networking, going out there and going to events, calling friends. And I remember the day that I incorporated the business, I found out I was pregnant. And so that gave me more of a desire to really apply myself. Again, I
Mhm.
used to say I want to be the provider. So I'm thinking, oh my God, I have a mortgage, I have kid, I have one son,
Mhm.
and I now I'm gonna have another son. And even though, I was, married at the time, because I was divorced for like 5 years and I remarried,
Mhm.
um, I still felt like this is my responsibility and I have to do this for my family. And so just, I just, all I can say is that I just really believed in myself. I believed in what I was capable of doing. And in my head, I thought I was the bomb. I'm the best.
Yeah, you
Because we
are
have, well, I mean, and I'm saying that, I'm not saying that in a, like I'm being
not arrogant.
conceited, because a lot
Sure.
arrogant. A lot of women feel like, oh my God, I'm not gonna say that because people are gonna think, no, you have to think in that when you start a business, you have to believe so much in yourself, because if you don't, then people are not going to believe in you. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-mm.
So we
Mhm.
have
They
to,
can smell it.
yeah, we have to have that aura and that
Yeah.
passion. And a lot of, and so I remember just going out there. I was pregnant with Evan, and I became the presenter for the only, the state of Michigan had a workshop, like a environmental workshop. And I was the
Mm.
presenter because I was very pregnant. I had to buy a suit, I remember. I was probably 11. No, what was I? It was, that's 11. I was like 7 months pregnant. And I
Mm.
remember it was month 11, November. My son was born in January. So that's how close I was to giving birth when this happened,
Yeah.
and so again, it's just, like I said, just one day at a time, making those phone calls and telling people this is what I'm doing, making your business plan, planning, and again, having very good credit, be
Mhm.
responsible for our finances. Because when you start a business, and you have to go get a loan, you have to have good credit history. So, yeah, I remember, early on, and another thing that I used to get was, you're crazy. What are you doing? You
Mhm.
get those. We've had that conversation.
Mhm.
How are you going to make this happen? Who's going to
Yeah.
recycle? And how are you going to make any money? And you, as a woman, and the more they told me I couldn't do it, the more it was like fuel to the fire. Give
Yeah.
me a little more gas, because that you're filling up my tank, because that
Watch
just
me.
gave me more. Yeah, watch me. And I'm still there. I'm
Yeah.
still there, when people look and I just go, I just smile, and I just
Mhm.
go in the background and I just start, hustling and making it happen.
Mm.
So, when you get those negative vibes and comments from sometimes family, friends, people in the streets,
Yeah.
and then you have the ones that believe in you. So hold on to the good, learn from the bad, but keep going.
Mm.
Keep, and don't let anything stop you. We're gonna fall down, you get yourself back up,
Yep.
because we're the only ones that can make that happen. Nobody else can do that for us.
Mm, that is like so all of this is so juicy. I already knew it was going to be, but like I'm kind of curious how you now. So you're 27 years into the business. You dance, you mentor, you're in community, you volunteer your time. How do you work that all in and maintain this level of fabulous? I don't want to use the word balance because I don't like the word
Hmm.
balance. It just doesn't, it's not a realistic word in my mind because I'm
I
like,
agree.
balance is, equal but opposite. But like, how do you manage all of the things that you're passionate about and still, you know, feel like you have energy for more?
I think it's taking care of myself. There's three things that I do: is emotionally, mentally, and physically. Three things that we have to do. And so it's about building a plan. And I'm a very true believer, and I tell everyone, I'm a religious person. So I put God, myself. I give myself oxygen just when we fly. They say give yourself oxygen before you provide it to your child.
Mhm.
And then I decide whether it's my children or my business, but I make that decision. And it's about planning. We have to plan. And so I built a plan and I said, this is how I'm gonna, because we need a lot of energy. We need our sleep. We need to exercise. We need to, so I'm very much into health and fitness. And I
Mhm.
believe that that has helped me, keep a clear mind and have the energy, because we do have to have so much energy,
Mhm.
a mental clarity when we're running a business. So it's about just like, I remember I did a kickboxing, what do you call, it was more of a challenge, I guess you could call it. And it was like 12 weeks.
Mm.
And I remember the first thing she had us do was tell me your vision of where you want to be. And so I went to, back then we'd have magazines and I'm cutting pictures of what I want it to be. So I set up some, what I call it, short term and long term goals. And in that one pager that I did, and I still have it in my closet, I still
Mm.
look at it. And this was, I don't know how many years ago, probably 30 years ago that I did this.
Jeez.
And I still read it because there's only one thing and there that I'm never going to be able to do again, because that's okay. But everything else is like, that's my mission. It's like a vision board that
Mhm.
I built, and what I wanted not to look like, but feel like.
Mm.
Because when we feel a certain way, we end up looking the way we want to look. And I'm not saying that I'm this, no, but I take pride in the fact that my age and in the stresses that I have throughout the day and every day, that I'm
Mhm.
able to just focus on the positive, take care of the
Mhm.
stuff that needs to take care of. But at the end of the day, it's about me being uh, emotionally healthy.
Mm.
Because I had a mentor too. And if anybody can ever look him up, it's Family Life Radio. I believe he retired, but his name is Randy Carlson. He's actually from Michigan, and he
Mm.
had a a radio show. And as a matter of fact, I met him, I met his wife, and he mentored me a lot. And I just remember he would say, talk to people and be lovingly and sternly. So I
Mm.
have used that, because when you're in this business, sometimes I have to be very harsh,
Mhm.
especially with the competition, who, you know they think
Mm.
that because I'm a woman, I don't know what I'm doing. But all those people that believe that way about me are now gone, have sold, and I'm still here.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's just keeping that. Have a vision board, build one. you
Mhm.
know what you want to look like, and
Yeah.
how you want to feel, and how are you going to accomplish that. What are you going to do to
Mhm.
get there? Whether you decide to eat healthy, you decide to give yourself time to exercise, time to vacation and get away. And my thing is, at the end of the day, I'm done. Now it's about me. Whether I want to cook, be with my family, go have dinner with a friend, whatever it is, it's about me. and not focus on the negative. If I have a problem, I don't see it as a problem. I have an issue I have to resolve. And if I can't think about a solution at that moment, I let it be until the next day.
Mm,
And so it's having that mental, that control of my thoughts and my
mm.
emotions that sometimes is very hard to do. But I think that because I've built this business, it has really helped me become a better person.
Have you always been that way? Like, have you always focused on positive or optimistic or problem solving?
Mm.
Or did you evolve into this person?
I think that I've always been a problem solver. I've always been a leader. I remember being the captain of my basketball team back in
Mhm.
Nicaragua. I remember being the president of my class. I remember I was able to God, what's the word? I can't even say it,
Infiltrate?
infiltrate
Yeah.
into every group. You know how I went to a Catholic all girls
Yeah,
school, so
okay.
you have your little groups of women, girls, and
Mhm.
I was able to be friends with this group and that group and that group.
Yeah.
So I've always been more of a troubleshooter. You give me a problem, even now you give me a problem, I turn it inside out. i
Finish.
I
Yeah.
man, talk about social engineering. I
Yeah.
can make it happen. You give me a problem, I make it happen. I
I love
dissect
that.
things, I turn it inside out.
Yeah.
And I always say I'll go down kicking and screaming, and that means that
Oh.
I'm going to look at every angle. So I've always been that way. But I remember when I was younger, I would worry a lot about stuff,
Mm.
worry and worry early on. And then when I started the business, I decided in order for me to be successful in this business, I need to stop worrying, and I need to use that energy instead of worrying into troubleshooting. And if I can't resolve it, I'll do it. Eventually it's going to happen, and just have faith. We got to have faith in ourselves and believe in ourselves that we can make this happen. So
Mm.
I say things like no time like the present, make it happen. Um, I have things that I said. I got two rules: don't mess with my family, don't mess with my business. Other than that, we're good. There's a lot of things that I say, and my employees to say, just like Maria says, let's make it happen. No time like the present. Let's do it right now.
Yeah.
So there's just things that we have to. Again, it's just believing in ourselves and our
Mhm.
capabilities. And I knew early on that I had someone. Oh, I remember when I worked at the DNR, I used to work in accounting. So when you work accounting and you can balance, you got to find that number, even if it's
Mhm.
two pennies. And I think that really helped me not give up,
Mm.
because you can't just say I didn't balance. You got to figure it out, even if
Mhm.
it takes you hours to sit there. Just like today, we have some technical difficulties. And what did you
Mhm.
do? You said, let's try this. And we tried everything and it worked. And that's what
Right.
it's all about. Every day, it's about there's always going to be a problem. And believe that every day there's
Mhm.
a problem. And how do we take that in? What do we do with that problem? Do we let that problem bring us down? Or do
Mhm.
we control the situation and try to navigate through it and make it happen?
Mm. I mean, that's such a like, it's so simple, but it's complex. It's a mentality shift. It's very much a practice for people to be like, oh, forget it. If that's your mentality, oh, forget it, or I'll just give up. That's a practice that you can stop and re-look at, reposition in your mind and hearing your story and the way that you work. Like the social engineering, I love that. I'm gonna take that.
Yes.
I'm gonna borrow
Yes.
that.
Yes. Yes.
Because I
Yes.
totally feel that, like, if I'm in a social situation, I can just kind of see the moving parts, the moving people, the characters in the parts and just kinda, "Okay, we just need to do this, this, and this." And then boom.
Exactly.
But it's
Exactly.
it's facing the challenge as, like, a challenge, something that you can learn and grow through instead of something that's gonna stop you, you know? Totally different. Same
Exactly.
problem.
Yeah.
Oh,
And you said it's a challenge. It's not a
mhm,
problem. It's a challenge. And
mhm,
I'm also a true believer that everything happens for a reason. So as soon as something bad happens, and believe me, I've had many in my business dealing with drivers and
mm,
trucks and the roadways and the elements, and the laws and all these
Mhm.
different laws that we have to follow and be in compliance. And for us to get a big customer, we have to have everything. I mean, there's so many things that are part of this business. And I just see it as, okay, we have like I said, Houston, we have a problem, let's fix
Yeah.
it. I mean,
Yeah.
think about it, duct tape fixed the problem, something that's simple. Like you say, things are simple. I think sometimes we complicate things, we make them bigger than what that they are.
Mhm.
But it's about, summarizing, okay, this is what happened, okay, what can we do? And another thing that I always tell, my employees is like, life sometimes is like, when you come into your office and you have all these things that you have to do, and you say, what's priority today?
Mhm.
And so you take the files that are a priority and everything else gets pushed to the side. Sometimes people try to prioritize, they worry about what they're doing now and they're worrying about what's over here. But
Mm.
we have to mentally let it go, focus on this now. Just like when you're focused, like I always talk about the pilot that's flying a huge airplane with 200, 600 people.
Mhm.
They have to focus, so let's focus on this, not worry about that. We'll get to it when I can.
Mm.
And that took me a while to get there.
Mm.
But one day I just thought, okay, this is all I can do. I only got two hands. I only got this. So I'll see what I really need to accomplish and leave it the rest of it there, and
Mm.
not worry about it and have that mental control.
I need to work on that. I can sense myself like the worry part where I'm thinking like I have all this stuff to do. People are like, just write a list. And I'm like, oh, I have all this stuff to do. And this is a good reminder. This conversation is a good reminder that like what is priority and we can only do one priority at a time. And I try
Exactly.
to think, I'm like, I can do all this stuff at once. Like I'm a great multitasker, but I could probably do so much more if I just focused on the task at a time.
Right.
I'm getting better, but I'm guilty.
Yeah, I think we all are at some point, but it's about really making that a priority. And I always call it the strategic plan. I
Mm,
love that strategic plan. And so you write your plan, and and that takes another word that I use is it's a process. It's a process. Because me being a troubleshooter, I have a tendency to fix it right now. I want it right now.
mhm,
Let's fix this right now. That's just my
mhm,
nature. But
yep,
some days it's like impossible. You have to wait. You have to wait on
mhm,
someone. You have to wait until the next day. So that's what it has forced me to say, you know what? I need to focus on this right now because there's
mhm,
nothing I can do about that. And another thing that I learned when my brother died in 2000, and actually he died in 2008, same year I
mm,
got the contract. And I remember he's the one that gave me the push to invest in something that I knew nothing about. Because when you think
mm,
about it, you're investing, $500,000 in something that you don't even know
mm,
what you're doing. You're
mhm,
just kind of learning how to ride the horse. I ride the horse as you
yeah,
adjust the saddle, right? You're like, okay,
okay,
I think
yeah,
you're learning, but you're like, you may fall, but and that's kind of how it was with me. But it's about really, again, believing in yourself.
mhm.
At the end of the day, it's believing in yourself.
And it sounds like it's piece by piece. It's step by step. It's not like it's brick by brick, as some people have been
Mm-hmm.
saying lately. You didn't build this huge recycling and waste management company like in a day. You
Mm-mm.
built it day by day, hour by
Day by day.
hour, email by email, right? And I think people overwhelm themselves with their vision instead of just working on the vision. And
Mm-hmm.
I think like your story is a huge testament of that. You did it
Thank you.
piece of waste by piece of waste, not like huge truck of waste by huge truck
Mm.
of waste. Now you're doing it that way. So I'm kind of curious, like, what's your vision for scaling? Like you're 27 years in, you said you have visions for more. Like, what's next for you? How are you building what's next? And how are you how are you
I mean,
transitioning?
I well, we were able to find our first building recently. I mean, this because of my we're heavy duty industrial, we weren't able to find a building like in Sterling Heights or Warren or in Macomb County because they had to
Sure.
be zoned for that. So we were renting space and we outgrew that. And
Mm,
I just, I'm a believer that if I ask God and I ask the universe of what I need and that I have this vision and I talk about it and I talk to my team and I let them know where we need to be and where we are heading. And it happens. So we got our building and now I have plans to increase our recycling services because that's
mm,
I always tell my employees I want to grow the business in the recycling side more than the trash side. But then you look at the trash or the landfill waste
mhm,
that can be reduced and pulled out of that and recycle it. So it's just continue to develop programs. I
mm,
want to increase our total waste management services. We do service. We have a large customer that has plants out of state, so we're able to manage all their equipment because I also have an equipment company. So we lease and rent compactors, balers, containers, anything that you can imagine. We buy and lease. So we also once we pay that off we have that passive income and it's something that I thought
sure.
about. Wait a minute, you know I can create another company and buy all this equipment and lease it. And
Mhm,
so and really my plan is to be able to work 100% remote,
mm,
that I can be in Nicaragua or I can be in Spain, anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world,
mhm,
and still run my business.
mm,
So my plan is to continue to, and I have an amazing team. I'm so proud of my team because without them, I wouldn't be able to do what I do. And I
mhm,
love them and I take care of them. My employees are very important to me. They're the vein of the business.
mhm,
Um, and to be able to, I want my employees to have a great life, to be financially stable. I want them to be happy. I
mm,
want to be able to help more businesses be sustainable. I think that in
mhm,
Michigan, we are touching the surface, maybe, in the
mhm,
desire to recycle. But as far as the recycling everything that we need to recycle, including organics, we are not even crawling yet,
mhm,
and there's so much to do. So
mm,
I'm very involved with the state of Michigan and the Michigan Recycling Coalition, so we can encourage, municipalities to recycle. Where like when I go to Europe and I see and I stay up late and I follow the truck, I'm in Rome and I'm videotaping these guys, and I'm like, "Do you mind if I tape you? I'm just a tourist. They don't know that I own a company." And I watch them and I do these videos because I want to show people how it is, done in other countries. And
mhm,
it's just like I live and breathe my business, and it's just my
mm,
passion. So yeah, there's a lot more that I like to do. I would like to open a transfer station, so I'm looking
mm,
for investors that are willing to do that because I already have the plan. I already have the blueprints. I just need an investor that loves the environment. They have a lot of money and we can
mm,
just build this state of the art facility to recycle pretty much anything that you can imagine, or at least manage. So
mm,
we can go mill direct or be able to. But my goal is to clean Michigan. That's my goal. And then go national and then international is my goal. And I'm planting those seeds as I go along. That's why I like to travel,
yeah.
because I see things and it's like, this is not right. I want to do this. And somehow the universe brings it to me. I see the door, I open it, I go in and I make it happen. And and I'm saying a lot that I'm speaking maybe out of term, but
No.
that is my goal, that is my vision. And even if I'm not here, if I pass and my son, who is the one who's going to inherit the business, he's been with me since 2000 and I don't know 13 or 14, no, even before that.
Mm,
He's been with me for a long time. I don't even remember. but even they know my vision, and they know my goal, and we work towards those goals. And
Yeah.
so it's just something that I pray to the gods that it happens. Yes.
And it's a beautiful vision, and it's a masterclass in being a visionary. Like, you stated what you wanted, you talked about the components, what it would take, who it would take, what you need, when you need it, where you're going to put it, when you get it, how you're going to do it. And visioning in that way is what makes things happen. You said, I need a VC
Exactly.
that's going to invest in my business, that cares about sustainability, cares about Michigan, wants to make the state of the art facility. And that call is going to hit somebody's ears the more you
Mm-hmm.
say it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just a testament to what visionaries do. And so if you're watching and you're a visionary, like, don't keep your visions to yourself, because you heard it from
Exactly.
Maria's mouth, and you're going to see it happening in Michigan first. And you're going to be like, oh, she said it over here. And she's been saying it for a long time, I'm sure, but I like masterclass in visionary, masterclass in visioning, how to take an idea to execution, even from the beginning of your business. But I love the vision. And I have visions too. Like, I've been talking to some people in the revamp side, and I'm like, I vision this like text, and I'm saying this to you, but I'm saying it to the universe too. I see that there's like a textile consumer mill in Michigan that can come out of the revamp and the clothing recycling that we have. We see a lot of people that are recycling automotive textiles and turning it into more like construction automotive materials. But in my dream, I'm like, we're taking old clothing or textile materials and turning it into new bolts of fabric for consumers and businesses at wholesale to buy, but we're producing it in Michigan.
Sounds like
Maybe
we
it's in
need
the
to.
same building.
Yeah, maybe we need to team up, in that facility that I'm creating. We'll also do textiles,
Yes.
because, and that would be, my goal is like cardboard, metal, food waste, electronics, paper, cardboard, wood, drywall, anything that can be recycled, and clothing is a big part of that. And I
Huge.
don't know if you know, but in Nicaragua, there's a huge business. And it's funny because I wonder, I think to myself, if women had access to this, we would have so many secondhand stores. It would be unbelievable.
Mhm.
But over there, you can go buy, well, they call it a paca. So imagine a huge pallet full of, and it's this huge bag full of clothes. So you go in there, and there's warehouses, and so you go and say, okay, let me see that one. And you don't
Mhm.
know what's in there.
It's like a mystery.
It could be a mystery. And
Yeah.
so they open it and they said, okay, I'll take that for $200. So then they take it and they ship it to another, whatever city they live, and they open a store.
Mhm.
And I have seen probably every block in the town where I grew up has one of those stores, and they're woman owned businesses, women reselling clothing. And my sister bought a couple of really cute items.
Mm.
And that was like, wow, it was linen. And I'm like, wow, that was so, and it was like $2 for this piece.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, if we had the ability to, if we had that, a place where you could go and buy the clothes, it would be
At bulk.
huge.
But
Oh my
here's the
God, in
thing,
bulk.
we do. That's the thing. Like, we collectively have all of that stuff already. Like, the last swap we brought, we only did it for 5 hours, and there was over 16,000 pounds of product that came in. And we told them, don't bring your underwear, don't bring your socks, don't bring your old bras. In my mind, I'm like, if I was to say, bring all that stuff, we're going to recycle it and turn it into bolts of fabric that you can go purchase from our store that's also at their store. Like, we're doing this full circle thing for textiles. And I think we could do it in Michigan. We have the infrastructure, we have people in our community like you and others like you that have paved the way for us to be like manufacturing and recycling at
Exactly.
scale.
Exactly.
I can see it. I can see it. I'm
Yeah,
like,
I mean, like there's companies that will turn old t-shirts into oily rags,
yeah, yeah.
and they sell them. And plants need oily rags to clean the machine, and then
Mhm.
we manage the oily rag. We put in a 55-gallon drum, and then we take that, and it's regulated waste. It can't be thrown in the trash.
Mhm.
So, I mean, there's just so much that can be done with textiles. So I'm excited. And I told you from day one when we met, this is amazing. This is something that there's a gap and you
Yes.
can fill that gap. And that just becomes part of that circular economy.
Mhm.
And, and we'll talk later. We have to have
Yes.
dinner so I can give you more
Oh, yes.
ideas,
I'm
but
ready. But
definitely that is that I'm excited. I think that's an amazing vision. Yeah. So focus on your vision, know your competition, see if there's anything out there like that. And if you find as an entrepreneur, there's nothing out there like that, go for it, make it
yeah.
happen. Yes,
And that's like
absolutely.
this, and for our viewer watching, like this is how when you vibe with somebody, especially in your industry or not, and you speak it out. Like I've been telling Maria my dreams for a while, and she'll be like, "Oh, have you thought of this? Have you thought of that?" So the more you open your mouth and the more you talk to people and the more you network, the more things just happen.
Absolutely.
It's just step by step. It's just step by step.
And not only that, but I have found in my business that I have, let's say I meet someone and they're curious and I tell them my story briefly. And then months later, I get a phone call and say, yeah, so and so told me about you. You know how many businesses I have received from just word of mouth,
Yeah.
just talking to people. And ask the universe for that, ask God for that. I always used to tell my employees, I I just need that one person. There's got to be one person out there that
Mhm.
wants to invest, or that one person that wants to be my executive assistant or my controller, or whatever, my VP of operations. And I have found every one of those people. Did it take me time? Absolutely.
Mhm.
Ooh, did we have trial and error? Absolutely. But if we stay the course and we believe that we will get this
Mm.
and we ask for it, it comes to us. It just does. It's just the loss of nature.
Yeah.
And I really believe in that. And believing makes things happen, just like the guy who built the WD-40.
Mhm.
It took him 40 tries to build that, to make the right formula, and he could have given up. Same thing with Detroit Edison. I don't know how many times he tried. I think it was 1,000 times that he
Yeah.
tried. I mean, can you imagine if we did that consistently, how the world would be today if people just didn't give up or believed in themselves? We would
Mm.
have a better place.
Oh, 100%. I'm reading a book called Mastery right now, The Art of Mastery by Robert Greene. And it's breaking that process down very clearly,
Mm-hmm.
step by step. And he
Mm-hmm.
talks about the masters and geniuses of the world, like Charles Darwin and things like and people like
Mm-hmm.
that. And he breaks it down about how they do it. And it's literally just being passionate and going for it and not letting the challenges stop you from figuring out the solution. So you're on your way. You're already a master, and it's just a joy
Thank
to
you.
be in this
Thank you.
space with you and to share you with my beautiful community.
Thank
Um,
you so much.
so we're close to time. I have two following questions. The first question is, where can people find you? How can they follow your work? How can they stay connected and all that beautiful stuff? And if they're a venture capitalist, where can they invest?
Okay, so we have a beautiful website that, as a matter of fact, it won an award, and it was an international award. Yeah, I think there were 70 applicants throughout the world,
Mm,
and we won first place. It took us about 2 years to build this site, so it's www.unlimitedrecycling.com.
mm,
My email is maria@unlimitedrecycling.com. And our company phone is 586-784-4980. You can email us. You can email customer service at unlimitedrecycling.com. If you have any questions, you can email me directly. And I'd be happy to, that if anyone is listening and really needs some advice on, they have an idea on a business, or they're in their business and they're maybe 5 years into the business and they need some guidance, just let me know and I'll be happy to guide you in whatever and do whatever I can. Because I believe that when we get to this level, we have to give back,
mhm,
because sometimes we hit a wall and it's okay, I've done all this, what else can I do? Because we have all this energy. So
mm,
that's kind of where I'm at, and I have been in this space to give, because I believe when we give we receive, and it multiplies, the blessing multiplies for everyone.
Mm. And she's not lying. She will help.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
thank you so much. Okay, my last question to you is, what is your last piece of advice for our viewer today?
My piece of advice to you is don't give up. Stay the course. If you fall down, get yourself back up and don't allow anyone to bring you down. You're going to have challenges, you're going to have issues, but that's just part of life, So believe in yourself, stay the course, and good luck to you in everything that you do. And bless everyone who's listening and us. And thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to talk to you. I admire you so much. I believe in you, and I look forward to working and collaborating together to see what we can do to help the environment in your business.
Maria, you're amazing. Thank you so much. I absolutely adore you. I'm so grateful for you. Our audience, please message her. Like if you're out in the community, maybe you're not in recycling, but maybe like the Michigan Hispanic Chamber or other chambers that you can get tapped in with Maria where she's at, like at the community level, all of that beautiful stuff. We're so grateful for you. Thank you for sharing your wisdom, your vision, for executing your vision and changing the world by doing so. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Adios.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. We'll be back next week. In the meantime, the revamp is looking for brand ambassadors. So if you are interested in creating content, helping the planet, and making new friends, this is a great way to do that. And the link will be below. Otherwise, we will see you next week on the Let's Glow Show. It's Amanda Sweet, the creative fairy godmother, and Maria Marin. Bye.
Bye. Bye.